please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Moving on to item number 21B. Ordinance 2024-150-3, restrictions on display of permissible fireworks and request to schedule a public hearing. Kirk, would you lead us through this briefly?
Yeah, this is in response to the request that we had on New Year's Eve fireworks. And after the meeting, I got some support to say we should probably add that date into there. So all this is an adjustment of the ordinance to add New Year's Eve in as one of the dates for fireworks. But where it's an ordinance change, it needs a public hearing to move forward.
Brilliant. Thank you. We have a series of 3 motions. Right now, first motion is a motion to move to waive a reading of ordinance 2024-150-3 in its entirety to read by title only, so made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next, looking to move, a motion to move a first reading of ordinance 2024-150-3, so made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. And finally, on this matter, looking for a motion to move to schedule a public hearing on February 12th, 2024, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Item number 21C. Resolution 2024-01, elderly tax exemptions. Kirk, would you walk us through this, please?
This is this was brought in as a request to my office, both from a couple members of the public and from the council, to look at our elderly exemptions for tax purposes, and if we want to make adjustments to them. First page of what you have there is current. What we use now, second page is a recommendation of adjustments. I did work with our assessing department to discuss not only what they're seeing Belknap County-wide, which is what we pulled up, but also statewide with some comparable places. The last time we adjusted the income limits and the asset limits was 2017. So I'm recommending that you discuss changing from 25,000 to 30,000 for a single income limit, married from 35 to 43, and then the single asset limit 75 to 85,000. One of the pieces with that the dollar figure may look like not a huge stretch, but one of the things that assessing said was you'd be surprised how many people just miss it by a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there. I was actually kind of surprised to hear that. So I think you're going to actually see some adjustments in there. And then we also looked at the age-based reductions, which was last changed. We again had a difficult time finding that number. We believe it was between 2011 and 2014 when that was last adjusted, and you see what the recommendation is there.
Counselor Susie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Kirk, question on this single asset limit and married asset limit. Does that mean that the person's house, because that's their asset?
No, anything but their house. So cars, if they have, expensive jewelry that they claim, those types of things. Not so you could have, if you went out and bought a brand new car and had a relatively new car, you could be over the asset limit with that. But it's not your primary residence. Does not count.
If a person has a pension or a 401, does that principal count towards that asset?
I'm not sure.
Not where they're taking each one, but with the principal?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Sorry, somebody?
I think so.
Okay.
And so if you're this was recommendation purposes, and if we can make adjustments, but either way, if we're going to make these changes, you have to go to a public hearing.
Okay? Go right ahead, Counselor Cheney.
Well, it does say here applicant must have a net income less than 25. If you have a pension, it could well be over 25.
Right, but over here, they're saying a married person income is 35 to 43. Second page, sir.
I apologize.
But I believe it does, I don't want to say it to be short, but I believe it does include your pension.
The pension you get every month is fine. I was looking at the, you know, when you
total
pull a
value.
pension or a 401, you might have a principal.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
was-
can't answer that question.
That was my only question.
Okay? Perhaps we can get that answer for you.
Yep.
All right, so we have a series of 3 motions here. Get this to a public hearing. Also give us an opportunity to think about this, and maybe get some more information.
Yep.
So, first one, motion, we're looking for a motion to move to waive a reading of Resolution 2024-01, elderly tax exemption in its entirety, to read by title only. So made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Susie. Any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next, looking for a motion to move a first reading of Resolution 2024-01, elderly tax exemption. So made by Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Cheney. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative. That motion passes. Finally, looking to move to schedule a public hearing on February 12th, 2024, during the regular city council meeting to gather public input prior to any action being taken. So made by Counselor Phelps, seconded by Counselor Haynes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes as well. Moving on to unfinished business right now. Agenda item 22A, proposed application to the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority for CDBG funds for improvements at the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire Lakes Region, Central New Hampshire Lakes Region Early Learning Center Playground. We heard input earlier this evening from both Donna Lane and Chris Heemand in regards to this. This is in regards to improvements to the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire, including handicap accessibility to the Lakes Region Early Learning Center Playground on 22 Stafford Street, Laconia. As we know, the majority of children served by this organization are from low and moderate income households. I'm going to look for a motion right now to move to approve the submittal of the New Hampshire Community Development Finance Authority CDBG application for improvements at the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire and the Lakes Region Early Learning Center Playground, and vote to authorize the city manager to sign and submit the CDBG application. And upon approval of the CDBG application, authorize the city manager to execute any documents which may be necessary to effectuate the CDBG contract and any amendments thereto. Remember, up to $25,000 will be retained by the city for administrative and labor compliance costs associated with the project. So made by Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Bogert. Is there any further discussion on the motion that's on the floor right now? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by raising your hand. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Next, item number 22B, adoption of the city's residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan for proposed improvements at the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire Lakes Region Early Learning Center Playground. As we know, that there's no displacement or relocation is anticipated for this project. So right now, I'm looking for a motion to move to approve the residential anti-displacement and relocation assistance plan for proposed improvements at the Boys and Girls Club of Central New Hampshire and the Lakes Region Early Learning Center Playground as presented. So made by Counselor Phelps, seconded by Counselor Bogert. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That motion passes 6-0. Next in front of you, under unfinished business, is agenda item 22C, which is ordinance 2024-194-16, 194-24, proposal to increase transfer station fees due to increase in disposal costs. Kirk, would you like to maybe just touch on what's going on here? So we
Yes.
could,
The one piece I will say is in the staff report, second page of your staff report, top right-hand corner, it says $125 per ton.
Yep.
In the resolution, it's 120 per ton. There was just a correction in that, so the resolution will be correct. When we estimated the budget for this year, for the FY '24 budget, the net cost to the community, to the taxpayer, was $1,150,000. With the changes which come from our haulers in the mid-cycle, the ask of the taxpayer has jumped up to 1.3 million. By making these changes on January 1, and we'll be a little bit later than that, we've been working on this for a couple months now, that will put the request to the taxpayer property tax subsidy at 1.3 million. So it'll put it right back to where the adjustment needed to be made. And then we've worked on moving forward for FY '25 as well. This had a lot of back and forth, but it went to I won't speak for that committee, but it did go to the Government Operations Committee. They heard from the public, as well as their internal, and have asked us to bring this forward to the full council, which is why you're seeing it again tonight.
would you like to talk about this at all, Counselor Susie?
What's that? Yes, we met with the committee and also some haulers that were local, and they all understood we had to raise it and the reasons why. Okay, sure, naturally, they didn't want to see it happen. But we also should be happy, well, not happy, but that we're only one of the few places they can take a lot of construction stuff to, okay? And, you know, we control all that, so that was the thing that we came through.
Okay.
Worked out well, I thought.
Okay.
And to, if I may, and to answer Representative, the question you had on the household waste, as you can see, it goes up $5. Okay?
Thank you. Any questions for either Kirk on this or Counselor Susie in regards to the work done? No? Okay. So we have a series of three motions here again. First one is looking for a motion to move to waive a reading of ordinance 2024-194-16, 194-24, relative to an increase in transfer station fees in its entirety, and to read by title only. So made by Counselor Cheney, seconded by Counselor Susie. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. At 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Next motion we're looking for is to move a second reading of ordinance 2024-194-16, 194-24, relative to an increase in the transfer station fees. So made by Counselor Susie, seconded by Counselor Felton. Is there any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative, that motion passes. Finally, looking for a motion to move to approve ordinance 2024-194-16, 194-24, relative to an increase in transfer station fees. So made by Counselor Felton, seconded by Counselor Susie. Is there any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. 6 votes in the affirmative, and that motion passes. Moving on to agenda item number 22, which is the discontinuance of all portions of Right-Way Path and Green Street running northwesterly from the New Hampshire Route 106 to the intersection of Eastman Road in the city of Laconia. We had a public hearing earlier this evening, and we now have it under unfinished business. And what's your inclination, councilors?
I recognize my constituents' concerns, but I honestly believe that if we maintain that road, it's A, gonna be expensive, and B, gonna be a problem when the new developer gets in there, particularly if they change their mind and don't move the road and rely on our road for construction, equipment, et cetera, et cetera. The state has an obligation to maintain that road until they sell the property. And I just think it'd be a mistake to take over that road, or accept that road.
Counselor Susie.
Yes, I understand, thank you, Councilor Cheney. And I heard the constituents. My only question is, this, as was stated, the state has an obligation to make sure that road is passable or usable by emergency services in any way. Are they doing it? And if they're not, how can we force them to do it or push them to do it? And then secondly, once the sale is done, what do we have over the developer to make sure that same thing is in set, so that there is emergency services right away, or pathways? That's my only real question.
If I may, I don't know if that road's gonna exist as is when this is done. I mean, I'm expecting that to become just a construction site.
Right.
Just the whole thing is just gonna be a big old construction site with them, you know, they're gonna be demoing buildings, they're gonna be building, I mean, the road's gonna be changing. That's not gonna look as is now, if we don't do this and it becomes a city street, they're gonna have to come back to us to be able to move forward to do anything, if they wanna get rid of it. If they don't, are we gonna take on the money of doing I don't know how long that road is, but, you know, half a mile, one more road? You know, so I think that I'm not trying to sway, I'm just giving my facts. But, there's gonna be a lot that goes involved in it.
I totally agree that we do not wanna own that road or accept that road. I just wanna make sure that in everybody's understanding, and, including the planning department, when they go through all of this, they will maintain that emergency, you know.
When we do large construction projects, the end result roads have to meet our needs. During it, there's very limited that we do, you know, they need to keep their roads open for dump trucks and things like that, which handle ambulances and police cars, you know, but there's very limited that we do. But certainly something that can be discussed, at least during, when they get planning board acceptance of, you know, hey, part of your condition of approval is that we're gonna have access to all buildings under construction, or something like that.
I don't wanna see something happen to some person who's up there and we can't get to them for one reason or the other. That's all. And we don't know how long it's gonna take the developer from the sale to the time a shovel is started. That's all I wanna ask. And Mr. Moore, I'm glad you're here. Did you hear that? So if you go through that, that's the only concern. Other than that, I think it's a good idea to do.
And I have no issues putting that into the letter to the state that says, you know, if you choose that we don't want to take this as a city street and we have no use for it, but these concerns came up during the meeting, and, you know, so whether they can address it directly or at least put everybody on notice that, you know, we'll be looking at making sure that access still maintains not only for Ahern, which we know, but we're gonna put it in there, but also for us as well. I don't think there's an issue with that.
Thank you
Kirk,
very much.
I want us, as a city, to be as supportive as we can to this development.
Yes.
But I don't want the downshifting of expenses from the state onto this city. I mean, this is a poor road. It's been a poor road ever since I've been, a long time. And I don't want to say, well, after the state neglected this road in so many respects, well, now the city takes it over and we have to bring it up to par. I'm not interested in that, and I just think that's bad business for taxpayers of this city. So, you know, again, I want to be supportive of this development as much as we can. I'm just not interested in paying the freight for some of this stuff. I want you to also to remember too, if this, you know, I had an opportunity to testify on Senator Lang's bill in support of it, which is, you know, if the sale goes through, that the city would be, act as a conduit of $3 million to sort of jumpstart some infrastructure stuff there as well. So that's out there. It's contingent on the deal being closed. It's also contingent on it getting through the Senate and the House and signed by the governor. But, you know, I think I think we're good partners here. I just don't want to be exploited. My 2 cents.
I'm just, my only concern, and I'm sorry, sir,
It's okay.
is as Councilor Cheney mentioned many, many times, we've been supporting that operation up there for many, many years, okay? And I just want to make sure the state doesn't expect us to do any additional. That's where I was coming from.
Shocking.
What? Have I felt that way?
No, that the state might stick, might try to take advantage of us again.
Again, I'm glad you said the word again.
So, what,
Yep, there's a motion on there. There's a motion
Yeah.
attached. It's just gonna say, it's just gonna give me the okay to send a letter tomorrow saying that we have no interest, if that's how you're voting, no interest to, take this as part of our city system. They will discontinue it and they'll wrap it into however they're gonna do their sale.
all right, so and that's what's contained in the motion, you said. So right now, I'd be looking for a motion to move that this, yeah. Oh, sorry, go right ahead.
No, I was gonna,
Oh, okay, sorry.
Looking for a motion to
Volunteer
move
for the
that the city council determine that the right-way path is not needed for the city's highway system and authorizes the city manager to sign all documents related to this matter. So made by Counselor Phelps, seconded by Counselor Bogert. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by raising your hands. That's 6 votes in the affirmative. That motion passes. I would like to ask the council to stay behind for a brief discussion, non-public discussion. When we return out of non-public, it will only be to adjourn the meeting. No new business will be addressed. So, under the non-public session, under RSA 91A:3, Roman 2, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. That's why I'd like to go to non-public. I have a motion on that? What do we get? So maybe Counselor Bogert, seconded by Counselor Felch. Call the roll, please, Katie?
Counselor Cheney?
Yes.
Counselor Susie?
Yes.
Counselor Hoffman?
Yes.
Counselor Haynes?
Yes.
Counselor Bogert?
yes.
Counselor Felch?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative. Will now be entering into non-public session.